Welcome to Low Code in 30. I'm Jeff Goldberg, a member of the Evangelist team at Mendix. In today's webinar, we're going to spend 30 minutes talking about conversational platforms for collaboration and communication to enhance user experience. Low Code in 30 is a monthly webinar series dedicated to educating you on the benefits of low-code application development in your company. Over the past year, we've concentrated on the fundamental components of the Mendix low-code platform, covering topics like accelerating DevOps and application lifecycle management, building mobile experiences, comprehensive security, and openness and extensibility. You can view these recordings via the Low Code in 30 playlist on our YouTube channel. In this new season of Low Code in 30, you'll learn about how Mendix is expanding the low-code ecosystem through complementary technologies made more accessible through the platform. Discover the evolution of apps to experiences made easier through visual programming, and discuss the challenges and opportunities self-service application development brings to bear within the enterprise. Before we begin, let's explore what the Mendix platform is and how it helps companies just like yours make the future. Mendix was born to help enterprises win with apps because it's the fastest and easiest low-code platform to create and continuously enhance any kind of app at scale, including web apps, offline-first mobile apps, REST APIs, microservices, and more to fit a variety of use cases. Mendix helps you achieve your goals through a visual, model-driven development platform, enabling professional developers and stakeholders in the line of business to collaborate throughout the entire application lifecycle. Everything from requirements gathering, development, deployment, and finally operating are integrated into the platform to help make developers' lives easier and to bring them closer to their customers. As a result, development is faster and more efficient because the business and IT combine their domain expertise during application creation. Application quality is significantly higher because requirements and outcomes are in alignment, and total cost of ownership is lower because adopting an agile and iterative process reduces rework after applications go live. In the past 20 years, communications have changed dramatically, multiple times. When at one point the only ways to communicate with colleagues and customers was face-to-face, snail mail, or through plain old telephone service, also known as POTS, the arrival of the internet age in the late 20th and early 21st century ushered email and instant messaging into the mainstream of how people communicate. With the greater availability and affordability of mobile phones, and the arrival of smartphones and the app economy, waiting to contact someone because you weren't near a phone disappeared, and the always-on culture we live in today began its march to prominence. Messaging and instant communication moved from the office space to the consumer space, and not only did this make connecting and collaborating with others easier, it made it instantaneous at a global scale. A study performed by Global Workspace Analytics of the Fortune 1000 saw employees spending greater than 50% of their time away from their desk. Collaboration tools like Slack and video conferencing over the web from WebEx, GoTo, and Zoom have made it possible for companies to enable employees to work remotely and interact with colleagues from mobile devices wherever they could pick up a wireless signal. Picking up on these B2B trends, R.R. Donnelly surveyed leaders in marketing and technology in 2016 to get their take on the future of B2C communications. 99% said mobile will be critical in their B2C strategies, and 87% plan to prioritize multi-channel customer experiences in a coordinated delivery model across multiple devices. So how are technology companies in the communications sector addressing this opportunity? Inside the enterprise, tools like Slack, Skype for Business, Microsoft Teams, and others facilitate one-to-one and group conversations with a number of capabilities beyond messaging. They all have chat, file sharing, light video conferencing, and screen sharing. In addition, Slack and Teams have robust APIs for integrating two-way communication between services in the form of notifications, alerts, reminders, and more. Many other software companies recognize they need to play in this ecosystem for expanding their own user base and have established connectors and integrations with their own APIs. B2C communications have their own set of platforms to choose from, forming a category called CPaaS, Communication Platforms as a Service. Providers in this space offer secure and scalable services for integrating SMS, MMS, text chat, bots, video chat, and more directly into web and mobile applications. From Twilio and Avaya to LivePerson and Nexmo, these and many more companies seek to make it easier and cheaper to implement messaging automation and contact center integrations into their app portfolios. While these app integrations for B2B and B2C use cases supply a standard set of actions between the source and destination, exceptions appear requiring customization to solve the problem. Unfortunately, just dropping a Slack workspace into the enterprise or making an investment in Avaya CPaaS doesn't solve the overarching problem with communications. As Dominic Kent says, solutions for enterprise communications are like snowflakes. No two are alike. There's always a need to do something with or as a result of the interaction. Kent goes on to say, administrators need a very specialized skill set to maintain. These applications require customization, but within the confines of the application creators. What Kent rationalizes is the benefit of CPaaS is that it supports this customization and doesn't force buyers into a box. On the other hand, Thomas McCarthy Howe takes the opinion that the problem with CPaaS and tools like Slack is that they are focusing one level too low to support efficient development of these applications. He states that the data, rather than the conversation, is where the value lies in these services, and they don't quite hit the mark in that department. This is where Mendix fits in perfectly, because as McCarthy Howe aptly puts it, for workflow and business communications, the game is in the data, not the message. I stated earlier, Mendix simplifies application development for anyone with a problem to solve. The combination of drag-and-drop tooling for front-end development and universal understanding of the function layer with visual microflows and nanoflows helps everyone make custom solutions quickly that have immediate impact. The App Store, Mendix's library of reusable componentry, accelerates time to market because customizing a Slack connection or integrating video chat from a CPaaS like Avaya or Twilio into an application is a drag-and-drop experience with minimal configuration. What are some of the applicable use cases for these capabilities and Mendix? The first one I'll go through today hits close to work. The evangelist team that I'm a part of receives a lot of requests from a variety of customers at Mendix. It can be overwhelming sometimes. In the past, these requests came to us via phone calls, emails, or drive-by conversations, and it made it hard for us to consolidate them into our backlog, which we manage through Asana. What ended up happening is we started prioritizing independently and not through our normal Scrum ceremonies. So we helped the next person that came to us and promptly forgot what the customer before them asked for help on. We needed a way for our customers to converse with us without distracting us from our current tasks. Enter Slack and Asana with Mendix. Slack has a very robust set of APIs for extending their platform. And as I mentioned earlier, many vendors, including Asana, have built integrations called Slack apps into their platforms that are easy to install and configure. However, sometimes the use case is a bit more custom and requires additional information to be exchanged than the standard Slack integration app can support. Thankfully, Mendix offers REST consume and publish capabilities that make connecting to different platforms a snap, and it enabled us to focus on addressing our customers' needs more efficiently. Let's see it in action. From anywhere inside my Slack workspace, we can type /evangelist-request. A slash command is a component of a Slack app, and when it's invoked, it makes a request to our Mendix app. The Mendix app interprets the request through a REST endpoint named command and calls a microflow to send back a dialog box in JSON format for Slack to read and render. It's in this microflow that we use the dialog.open action available from our toolbox. This is pretty cool because instead of having to go through the process of building out the dialog.open call, it's available to me right from the toolbox, and I can just use it. As for the rest of the function, there's a good amount of customization going on, and that's the part I was mentioning earlier. While these services provide solid API support, they require a solid foundation of JavaScript to understand how to use them. With Mendix, I'm able to build out that customization visually and easily see the different fields that are being added to the dialog box. Back in Slack, the dialog box has appeared and I'll fill it in. When I submit the form, Slack's interactive component framework sends that information to my Mendix Slack service again. And as the request goes through the process, the chat.postMessage action sends a message back to the user who requested the task, informing them that their information has been posted in Asana. I can think of a number of use cases where this capability could come in handy. Consider a timesheet app, like the one we have in our template gallery. We could integrate Slack with this app to send timesheet sign-off requests to Slack, so the reviewer can approve, reject, or ask a question of the submitter right from the Slack interface. We'll dig into this case during our live community webinar on June 26th. In the last Low Code in 30, we explored the world of cognitive services and AI through the lens of an emergency response app. We talked about how crowdsourcing emergencies could speed up response. What if the dispatcher needs to get more information from the submitter? In the current version of the app, there's no way for the dispatcher to contact the person who submitted the photo. What if we added SMS capabilities from Avaya or Twilio to enable the dispatcher to carry on the conversation with the submitter? Once again, Mendix makes it easy to integrate these communication platforms with reusable componentry and easy to create and consume REST functionality. Okay, so I'm going to wire up the Avaya SMS capabilities here. And how I'll do that is to create a microflow that's attached to the Save button. The first step in the microflow will be to take the SMS param and add the destination number that was received as part of the emergency contact information. Then we'll get the message count so that we can track all the messages that in correspondence that are going between the dispatcher and the submitter. Now we'll dig into the toolbox and pick the Avaya SMS connector. Once the Avaya SMS component is on the microflow, we'll add an exclusive split that will perform a conditional to make sure that if the message fails, we'll get a message that shows that failure. If it's true, we'll continue on and add more information to the message log. So we'll take the message we just sent and send it off into our database so that we can keep that message log history as part of the conversation. Let's go ahead and add the rest of the properties or members of the message log so that we get that in correctly. The last two things we'll do is we'll add an emergency event committal. So we'll commit the emergency event object to the database, and then we'll close the page, signifying the end of the life cycle of sending the message. Once the app is updated, we'll be able to go in, and if we click on the record regarding the cat that's being chased by the old man, we can see the information that was captured previously, and the new phone number is already in this task. We can go ahead and click the Send SMS button, and now we'll open up a new form, that new form that we created, and we can put in the message here. So we'll just type in, "Are you able to calm the man who is chasing a cat?" And when we click the Save button, that will trigger the Avaya service to send that message. So we're calling out to the Avaya API and sending a text message to our phone. And you can see here's the phone and the message is right there. If we continue, we can send another message right away, and we can ask a follow-up question or give some guidance. If you can calm the man down, maybe the cat will come down from the tree. So we click Save, and we can see that just gets added to the additional text message. So Avaya offers not only one-way but two-way text messaging in conversations, but we're going to take a look at how that works in Twilio now. So let's switch over to Twilio, and you can see the microflow is identical to the Avaya SMS microflow that we created. The only difference is changing that one action where instead of using Avaya, it's using Twilio. We're going to show two-way SMS here. So we'll go back into the same task we were in before and send another SMS. So this time we're asking the same question: are you able to calm the man down and get him to stop chasing the cat? And now when we save and we send this text, and when we click Save now, that's going to run through Twilio, and we receive that text pretty quickly. And now we can respond to it. So I can say, "I'll try right now." And that's going to get captured and sent back to the application through a webhook. So you can see here's the message history. I can go ahead and send another text message and say he's not listening to me, and the cat's hissing. And if we refresh the message history, it's coming back. And one of the benefits here is that as a dispatcher having this conversation, you can identify the sense of urgency based on the communication that's going back and forth. You're getting some more context beyond the picture. So from there, you can basically say that you want that bystander to stay in the area and that you're going to contact the police instead of the animal control, because it seems like the man who's chasing the cat is the bigger challenge right now to be worked out. And you can see that text comes back through. And if we look at the message history, we can see that message that was sent and then the last message that was received by the bystander. Now, the way this works, like I said, is through webhooks. And if we go into Mendix, you can see that there's a REST API in our Twilio connector. And if we look at the messaging service, this is the actual API definition. There's a message webhook, and that message webhook calls a microflow. And that microflow is what's responsible for adding that message to the message history and the message log. And if we go to Twilio, we can see how that is done, because there are those inbound settings and there's that request URL for the webhook right there. So it's a pretty straightforward integration to make two-way messaging work and integrate it into your application. Communication platforms open many new doors for connecting with users. And while they abstract away the infrastructure for providing those communications, or supply a robust set of capabilities to extend a great user experience, they are only part of the overall solution. Pairing them with a platform like Mendix enables your enterprise to maximize return on investment because they become part of a more robust, comprehensive solution that you can customize rapidly and iteratively.